Well, welcome to the channel. I'm going to speak on the subject, make it pay. When you go to a cemetery, you'll see where the person's been born, there's a little dash, and then you'll see where the person's passed away. And it's the little dash, the life that we have, that I'm interested in. Now, this talk is primarily aimed at people that have unfortunately been separated, that have children, all the complexities that come with that, trying to navigate a relation with blended families or with men or women that have children that aren't yours, all the complications that come with this. But hopefully, and here's this series here, It's All Too Close, will help with some of that. But one of the hardest things that we need to try and navigate is the fact that there'll be people that we meet that have had other lives before we come along, with men or women or whatever the case is, that have gone wrong. And there's terrible damage and unresolved issues and things that are associated with this. Now, you'll see that picture there where I'm with a Flightboard hydrofoil. I put this picture on because right there in that picture, I've had experiencing a wife that's gone fucking AWOL, completely lost the plot, and I just had to get on with my life in the middle of it all. Cost me a lot of money, headaches, you know how it goes when they go fucking stupid. You know the person 1 minute and then the next you wouldn't know who it is. When you watch or have seen a couple of times how a woman can be fragmented from a stable, loyal, committed person to a stark raving absolute lunatic that you don't know, in the terms of they're not going to cooperate, they're not going to continue to build with you, they're running around left, right and centre with who knows what and who knows who. If you're not culturalised to understand that the possibilities of these things happening are relatively high, then you're going into relationships blind, completely and utterly blind, because relationships have a way of causing things to manifest in us and in them that weren't previously there before the relationship began, characteristical things. Now, one of the best clues I can give you to guarding yourself from falling into this trap is to look at where the person you're attracted to has come from. Try and find out what their journey has been. You'll never fully get the truth. A lot of people are blind to their destructive, sabotaging behaviour. A lot of people, when you get to our age, I'm up heading towards 60 now. I was 57 in that picture, 56 in that picture. A lot of people will not be accountable or responsible for their part in the decline of a relationship. Alcohol and other substances play a big part in the ruin of relationships. You'll find children are a big part in the ruin of relationships and interfering relatives. Remember, I'm speaking to people now that have gone into a world where the original DNA partner or family partner has gone, or it's diminished, or whatever's happened, and you're now in the world of trying to find somebody that's going to work with you in a healthy way, in a constructive way, without interferences from children or relatives or all these things that can happen, and strategies for you to see that these things can happen and how to prepare yourself for if they do. Because women are very tunnel vision and they run on their feelings. Masculinity is ordered. Femininity is chaotic. You've got to realize that femininity is chaotic and it needs your masculinity and order for it to flourish, right? Women will plod along in their femininity and all, and for the most part, it's just contrary to what men do. But what they're doing now is, if you've noticed, women are becoming more masculine. And the reason for that being is a lot of men have let them down. And so they decide that they will support themselves and get through life on their own, which is relatively easy in today's society. It's not all that hard. So you are now out of your marriage for whatever reason that's collapsed. Thousands of reasons. My reason was that her 6'4", 21-year-old infantile son, because they raised him to be infantile, moved in with us. And the relationship triangulated. Cut a long story short, I had to ask her to house him somewhere else, and she did. And that was the end of that. Cost me a lot of money, but you can't see these things coming. You can't see how these women are going to navigate pressure. In all fairness, I've just navigated a relationship with a woman that's got 2 sons that don't like middle-aged men. That ain't my problem. Do you know? That's her problem. And so, to cut a long story short, a fallout was inevitable, wasn't it? There was going to be a fallout. And I'm supposed to fix it. Well, kiss my ass, I haven't got a problem. I just went down there to visit the woman, and her sons weren't going to have it. So you live with that one yourself. I can't. You cannot fix the dysfunctional and destructive mindsets of people that don't like having you around. So remove yourself. Just remove yourself until you find an environment in which you're appreciated and respected, and enjoy it while it is that way, because it may not stay that way. And this is how you make life pay. This is how you make it pay, by being aware of the things that will jump out at you for no fault of your own, right? Nobody's perfect, but for no fault of your own, and you will not be able to fix or resolve whatever the problem is. My friends watch what happened in my last marriage. You would never have picked this woman to be a fucking fool. She turned out to be a complete and utter selfish fool, the woman I was married to, the South African woman. She was like a child that just had to have her way. Didn't care who it was going to affect, what it was going to ruin, how much it was going to cost, and all the stuff that went with it. But I should have seen where I blindsided myself. I should have seen the way in which she behaved with the first husband, right? But I wasn't aware of all these things at that time. I've learnt these things the hard way, and that's why I'm doing this video. You've got to look at the background of these people. You've got to look at the way... See, the hard part about this is, when you first come on the scene, anybody can put on a front, right? And you would have heard all this before. Anybody can put on an act. But create some... throw a little bit of chaos in there so you can find out who's what and who's where and how things get resolved, and if they do or if they don't. Because 9 times out of 10, they won't. And the reason why I talk about maternal love, the love that a mother has with its children, is not because I disagree with it. My children have a great mother who I separated from many years ago. She's a great mother for the most part. I understand how maternal love's to a point, but if you've got people with maternal love and no boundaries, you've got chaos. Because a lot of these women, when they lose their relationship, be it their fault or not, they will cause their children to become surrogate partners. One way or another. There's all different combinations and way in which this can happen. And you're not going to compete with that? How many times do you hear of people that are in a new relationship and the only problem they got is the children of the person that they're with? Because the children, out of sufferance, are putting up with this person out of sufferance. And if you want to put I'm at the point, I will not have a relationship with a woman with children again. I'll never have another relationship with a single mother. And I had to learn the hard way. I knew it wasn't a good idea to do that. I knew. Because this is what you got to realise, guys. Realise this. Women with children are never single because they can fall back on their children for company and security, right? You think a single mother is never, ever, ever single. They've got the backstop of their children, right? Whereas unless you've got your children living with you as a single father, you're on your own. And you have to get this is where we need to make life pay and have some value on ourselves. It all starts and ends with ourselves. Not in a cruel way, but in a way in which if you're being in an environment where you sense that this ain't going to go well for you, right? Even though you like the person and you just get along, like the last woman, we hardly had a fight, but you can only take so much. If somebody doesn't want to resolve external interferences, you got no chance at all. Why should you live being misrepresented by people that have ideals about you that aren't true? You remove yourself from that place. You just remove yourself. And don't worry, they go on without you. This is what you've got to understand. You're not as valuable as you think. You're just not. Doesn't matter how much you value that person, what you're putting into them. If they ain't getting things in order, you've got to make some hard decisions to maintain your health. Right? My life was collapsing all around me while that picture was taken, but I was doing everything I could to make it pay. I was trying to be as healthy as I could, trying to be as fair as I could, trying to be as rational as I could. I was dealing with a pack of lunatics, absolute lunatics. But I made it pay because when all the dust settled and everything settled and she realised she'd been deceived by her children, she followed her children's agenda instead of following the man, and she wanted to come back, I just smiled and laughed. And when they change their mind and want to come back, there's all these different ways in which they try and do it. And you've got to be aware of those as well, like sending letters, accidentally rang, oh, that message was an accident, all that stuff. Turn up on your doorstep. You've got to be aware of all these things. It's okay to give people chances and to try and work through things, but for the most part, you guys need to be listening to teachings about how to be detached, loving but detached. So if the character flaws of a person surface and aim themselves towards your relationship, you just watch. In my first marriage, I watched people pull that thing apart with such mastery, it boggled my mind how well it was done. But I watched and I got on with it. There's always somebody else, guys. I know that sounds like it's making the person that you're with sound invaluable. No, that's not true. I've had the highest value that you could have for the people and made the biggest effort that I could for the women that I've been with. And they all know that. That's why they usually try and come back. It's not easy out there for women. That's why we show the dark female nature videos, response videos. You make life pay by being the best physical, mental and emotional and spiritual person that you can be for yourself by making the sacrifices and doing the work. That's how you make it pay. That's how you make anything pay. Because if you're on a job like I was on the Central Coast Highway and you lose $250,000 and you don't even get it sent a sorry letter or anything like that, and you're standing there and you've got to pay suppliers and everything their money back, even though you're bankrupt out of conscience. I paid all my suppliers back, tens of thousands of dollars. You better have the mindset to make life pay, or life will make you pay. How do you have this mindset? Well, you keep well, you keep fit, you make the effort, you protect your mind. Yeah, have a drink here and there, but protect your mind. Alcohol's ruined fucking humanity for centuries now, millenniums. If you want to participate in that, that's your business. You do that. I don't. So that's an introduction. There's 2 more talks in this. They're primarily going to be based around female nature, which is chaotic. Masculine nature brings that chaotic part into a peaceful, healing place if they get it right. A lot of them don't these days because there's too many options for them, so they wreck everything they can get their teeth into. And you need to steer clear of these people. Now, a lot of the trouble can be covert. You won't even know it's there. You won't even know it's happening, but it's happening. And it's at work behind the scenes to fuck you over. And then that comes down to the character of the person. See, a lot of these people, they won't let on that they're dealing with stuff that's trying to undermine their relationship. They haven't got the savvy or the strength, particularly if it's their children. I've watched women have children that are their parents. It's one of the most horrible things I've ever seen. And the woman will run you for as long as she can, unless you wake up and go, this is completely out of order and I'm just not going to be in this environment. You know. They'll play you. They'll run you if you're prepared to turn up and kid yourself that you're important. You'll get women tell you that they love you and they won't even stand up for you with their fucking spoilt little brat children. How can somebody say they're just trying to make you stay? They don't love you because they put things in order. Do you get what you've got to understand what I'm saying? It all comes around how respected you are. And if unresolved issues are more important than your presence, let them have the unresolved issues. That's how you make life pay. Dividends for you. Because you're removing yourself, you are detached enough to be able to go, there's something better for me than this. If you're valuing somebody and you're investing into their lives and they can't resolve the simplest of things because of maternal blindness or because the children are actually the parent or, there's 100 different combinations, as I said before. Watch the covert emotional incest videos. Then you have to have the capability to be able to move on until you find somebody that's going to appreciate you enough to really get down into the meat and potatoes and get things right. Otherwise, you're just being stringed along, guys. So that's the first talk in this 3-part series. I hope you're getting something out of it. See, making life pay is not a financial thing. It's an emotional, spiritual, physical, and mental thing, where you're able to rise above the bends in life that want to pull you down and make you submit, try and make you submit to what's just not right. That's how you make life pay, when you can rise above those things as though they're not even happening and just let the people drown themselves. They'll find somebody else. You're not that important. It's just how life is. You have to accept that. Loyalty and all that, Forget it, guys. There's no such thing as loyalty and love and all that without structure and resolve and those type of things. When you see people getting structure and resolve, making sure that it's there, making sure nothing's going to foul things up, that's when you're just starting to look at things like love and stuff like that. Otherwise, you're just rescuing people that don't want to have any responsibility or accountability. This is Pro Bricky on the Pro Bricky exclusive YouTube channel. Subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll see you on the next one.